Welcome back to my channel, you guys. I've got what I think is a set of fun projects today. And you guys have loved the napkin card video so much. And I found these at Walmart like 2 weeks ago. The Halloween stuff is out. So these were 98 cents and there was 18 of them in here. And I've already given some away. These are 2-ply napkins. And they are very cool. It's got these skulls like all over on all 4 sides. So let me show you what we're gonna make and then we'll get into this. All right, so I was happy to find that pattern and that it was such a big napkin because I wanted to make this slimline card for Halloween. And I know this greeting is not like appropriate for Halloween, but it is for the person I'm going to give it to. So let's get started. All right, so napkins. You have to first pull all the plies away because we only want this top layer. So again, this said it was 2-ply. That means there's 2 layers on here. Now there's a bunch of ways you can get these off of here. You can lick your fingers, wet them, try to get it separated. This is looking like it's going to work. If you don't do that, in my previous video, I used little pieces of tape and put them on both sides of this and just kind of like wiggle it around so it pulls it apart. This is working. What you could also do is swipe your fingers on a glue stick. Now, I don't mind that I'm tearing this up much because I don't need this edge, but you just need to get it going. And if you watch that, my first video from a year or so ago, there's a lot of good comments on there of things to try. So once you get it going, we just want to kind of gently peel off this back layer. And if there was something you could do with this scrap bit, go for it. I usually just throw them out because look, see, I ripped it. So, I will put it right in the garbage. And I'm getting a little bit, it's sticking a little bit. So again, I found these napkins at Walmart. That same day, I found some really pretty ones at Hobby Lobby, and I'll show you that at the end because I'll do a different video for that. I'm gonna make that one's like more fall-y, whereas this is Halloween. I love making cards for Halloween, and when I saw these napkins, I immediately thought of a slimline card, mostly because of these guys here that were like long and tall. All right, so we've got that. Now, there are the fold marks, the wrinkles. It's hard to get a napkin card very smooth anyway. I did a pretty good job, but I'm not going to go to the trouble to iron a napkin. But if you want to, do it. That's up to you. All right, let's talk about what we need for our card. So I've got, in addition to our napkin, I've got a piece of black that is 7 by 8.5, and then I score it in half at 3.5, and that's going to be the base for my slimline. That's up to you. This is just the size I like. Then I've got another layer of black that I'm making 3.25 by 8.25, so I took it down 1/4 inch. Then I've got vanilla and adhesive sheets. So I'm using adhesive sheets to attach my napkins, and that's only because this is what I have. You could use glue. You could use, people do a technique where they iron on saran wrap to freezer paper, and then it makes it sturdy enough and the saran wrap like melts and becomes like the glue. You could do that if you want. I'd have not done that way. So I just use my adhesive sheets because that's what I have. You could use a glue stick. I don't know if I said that already. Different ways. But adhesive sheets, the ones I have some from Sizzix and some from Stampin' Up. I have to order some new ones because I'm down to like little scraps, and they come 6 by 12. The Sizzix ones, I've had these for probably 10 years and they're still good, but they came in 12 by 12 sheets, and you might find them maybe scrapbook.com or what's the other one? Simon Says stamp. They might have them. I don't know. You'll have to check. But so I've got bits and pieces to make the same size because I want it to cover this whole sheet of vanilla. Now, vanilla versus white. You want something that our pattern's going to show up on. So I chose vanilla because the napkin was kind of vanilla-ish. You could do white. You just want something because it's really going to make it stand out. All right. So first we're done with our napkin for now. First we take our adhesive sheets. And these are double-sided pieces. So we're going to peel off this label and put it on the cardstock. And then we're going to peel off the other side of this transfer sheet. And some of these are easier to get going than others. And they're very sticky. Get that out of there. I'm trying to get just the corner. And then I fold it back. Ooh, see how that adhesive really wants to come off. So I am just going to put this corner over to this corner and try to keep it straight. And I'm peeling the transfer sheet, or the whatever this sheet is called, peeling that off as I go. All right. Man, that really glued up my hands. Okay, now this little bit, I had to trim another little piece to fit that. And this is going to be tricky to get going. Oh, shut my mouth. That was a lot easier than expected. All right, so then I'm just patching together so I cover my whole strip of vanilla. All right, I'm going to rub this down, burnish it with my fingers. And I can see there's a little bit hanging up here, like hanging over the edge. So I want to cut that off. And this really glues up my scissors too. But that is the way it goes. The sacrifices we have to make. I can clean my scissors. All right. Now we're going to peel up these adhesive sheets, this part. So this is all sticky. And I need to get this side going too. And I'm going to do the fold it back again. All right, now we need our napkin. I usually like napkins that don't have like a pattern, like a straight up and down pattern, because I worry about getting it straight on my card. But what I'm going to do here is, oh, you know what? I need this piece so you guys can see what I'm doing. This helps it show up better for you and me. All right, let me tape this down. Come on, get straight. All right, so I know in my previous video, I left the paper on the table like this with the adhesive up, and then I put the napkin on it. But this time I'm going to do it opposite because I really want to pay attention to the pattern. So I have, since I want everything to be straight, because, you know, these guys are going straight, everything's straight. So I want to use this line, this black border, as my guide. And when I get to this part where there's the wrinkle, the fold, I'm just going to have to try to squish it out with my hands to keep that nice. All right, so I'm going to line this up again right with this black border, and then the rest should work out. All right, so I'm going to press. What I'm doing is pulling this, pulling my adhesive sheet and pushing it down onto my napkin at the same time. And I hope I didn't just mess this up. All right, we'll see. Shouldn't have to wrestle with it this much. All right, so I'm pressing and pulling. And again, when I get to this area where it's got the fold, I really want to pull that napkin. All right. And I can tell I probably got a wrinkle there. I'm going to have to get over it. That's the only tricky part really about the napkins, is if you want like a really smooth, straight finished piece. Sometimes it's hard. But I don't worry about it too much. Now, this piece, we're not finished with this yet, but I am going to push it off to the side. All right, so let's burnish this again. Rub everything. And it doesn't look too bad. Looks like the wrinkle is like right over there. So I take my bone folder and just run it. I'm really pressing hard. Oh, look at that. I scratched that with my fingernail. All right, not to worry because that's going to get covered up. Well, it is now, right? Okay. Or I can redo this. Nope, I'm not redoing it. Okay, so the edges. So I like to trim them right up to the edge of my paper. If you wanted to glue them and fold it in like you would fabric, you could do it this way if you wanted. I don't do that. I'm going to get my cutter out and I'm going to trim it right up to that cardstock. And again, my piece is 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. No, wait, 3 1/8. Let me measure this again. Yep, 3 1/8. Okay. This is going to help me figure out if I've got my napkin piece straight. And you could do this part with scissors too. You don't need to get your cutter out. But I just like to because I trust it more so than me cutting. All right, so that is pretty good. All right, good enough. Let's get these out. All right, so I'm just going to smooth this down again. I'm not too worried about this now because it blends in some. It's not going to be the end of the world. Okay, now let's bring back, so here's our sample card. Notice I've got this embossed edge around here. So I'm going to do that on this one. I need a Versamark ink pad. And I have made this concoction. I call it black ice. I don't want to tip it over entirely because this is not like leak proof. So what I did a couple years ago, I mixed, Stampin' Up! Used to have this sparkly clear embossing powder called iridescent ice. So it was clear embossing powder with like holographic sparkly bits. So I mixed that with a container of black embossing powder and I call it black ice. There has since been a stamping technique called black ice. So if you're going to look it up, you're not going to find anything because this is just something I made up. So black embossing powder with iridescent ice. We don't have this. Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry that anymore, but there are plenty of companies that carry a black sparkly powder now, so you don't have to make your own. But I'm still going to use this up. So when I made my prototype, this, I didn't think that it was black enough. Like, it's sparkly, but it was hard for me to see when I was cooking it. So I had an extra jar of black embossing powder from a long time ago. So I dumped it in here too to make it darker. And I can tell it's darker. So now this is really like 3 jars of embossing powder. So I really have to start using this so I can get it gone. So let me show you the technique that I use. I use this quite a bit to do the side piece of cards, like the edges. So let me get a scratch piece of paper. No, wait, this is for my embossing. Okay. Let me get all these bits up. So I don't worry with the embossing buddy for this. I don't worry too much. So I'm taking my Versamark ink pad and I'm just going to catch the edge of it. So like the left edge of my Versamark pad against the right edge. And I'm going to do this side and this side at the same time. And I generally do a straight line, and it's, as straight as you can get it. That's what I did here. if you wanted, you could do a wiggle. So actually, let me do a wiggle on this one, and then we can see the difference. So I'm still just starting at maybe a 1/8 of an inch off or so. So let me just wiggle it. See, I'm just like, ring, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then I'll do the same thing here. All right, and now I need my scratch paper and my black ice mixture of embossing powder. And I'm just gonna dump it on the whole edge. So your wiggle may be more wiggly than mine. I like it though. It's inconsistent. I like it. And don't worry, like if bits get all on here, for this particular card, it's not gonna matter. All right, let me get this back in my container. Now I have to do only 2 sides and cook it, and then do the other 2 sides. Just because I cannot, if I was to drag my Versamark pad along this edge or this edge right now, I would catch this part, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so embossing. All right, it's always tricky seeing the embossing powder, so I had to keep turning it different ways so I could see it, that it was done. I like this. Okay, I'm gonna shake this extra off. All right, so again, now I'm gonna turn it and do the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm just gonna wiggle it some. And then same thing over here. And then we're done with our Versamark. And I can bring my embossing powder. Nice. I do like that. I like how it's not the same. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and glue this onto my black layer. And I have to decide, did I want it this way or this way? I think I'm going to make this one go this way. Yeah, different from the other one. Why not? All right, so I'm just using glue. This is, I'm using Barely Art glue. And I like it because I can get it pretty close to the edges and it doesn't squish out. All right, and this is a pretty close border. I only gave myself an 1/8 of an inch, so just gotta do some wiggling. All right, good. There's not a lot of wiggle room time with this glue. It's got a quick grab, but I like that. Okay. Press this down. All right, I'm finished with the glue for now. All right, so I'm going to pop this up. Now notice this skull. Again, it's from the napkin. So what I did, I took a scrap So let me cut a piece out. I do want to do another skull, but I need a whole one. And I've already cut through him. I could do the tall guy. Yeah, let's do the tall guy. Why not? All right, so I'm just going to rough cut around the bits that I need. And I'm going to save this because I can probably get 2 more cards out of this, maybe 3. Oh, you know what? I cut my adhesive for the small guy. So, all right, time out. So I found the piece of adhesive. I had trimmed this for the skull, like the short skull, but not the tall one. So I just had to go and find another scrap. All right, so let's get him cut. So I'm going to do the same thing, peel this up and stick it on just another scrap piece of vanilla. And if you had some other image that you wanted to add, then, you know, you go for it. I just thought it was neat to tie in another piece of the napkin. So burnish, rub this down, peel this up. All right, and then I'm going to stick my napkin guy down. Okay, and rub, rub, rub. All right, now I'm really going to have to clean my scissors after this. But I'm just going to rough cut, like fussy cut really quick around him. And I'm not taking a ton of time about it, but so I find it's easier when I'm cutting things out like this that I control. My scissors with my right hand are just like up and down, but I control the movement of the paper. I move the paper with my left hand. And I am right-handed, so maybe if you're left-handed, try it the other way. And this is sticking to me. Okay, nice. Now we just throw this away. All right, so here's looking at our card. Now we need our greeting. So I'm gonna keep the same, like this time I'm gonna put this guy over here. So I'm gonna do maybe opposite. But let's go with, next I wanted to pop this layer up. Actually, I'm popping both of them up. So I've just got this foam tape, and I have recently found that you can find this foam tape at the dollar store, like the Dollar Tree, and it's a good tape, and it's only $1. But I got mine, I think, from scrapbook.com. because they had a pretty good deal. I got like a 3-pack and it was on sale. It was nowhere close to as good a deal as the dollar store. And that is good foam tape. So get what you have, or get what you can find. So when I do, this foam tape is very sticky. Once I try to put it down, it's down. There's no go backs. Oh wait, was I gonna do it this way? I think so. Yes, okay. Good thing I didn't put it down. Anyway, this foam tape is very, very sticky. There's no forgiveness. Once it's down, it's down. So what I do for that is add liquid glue, and that's gonna give me some wiggle room so I can move it around and get it in the right position before it's really stuck down. All right, and I have to do this sideways and closer to my face. So a little bit of wiggling, eyeballing. That looks good. So I'm going to give it a press, hold it in place. Okay, and then same thing on this one. We'll put some foam tape along here. And then I'm going to show you how I did that greeting. And I am going to put him like right here. I love it. All right, so guess who loves you? So this is from Banner Year, and I'm pretty sure they didn't intend it for Halloween, but I'm using it that way. So I've already stamped this in VersaFine Onyx ink. I like this for greetings. It's a nice crisp fine detail ink. The thing is, you have to let it dry for a few minutes. So I already stamped that, and I'm going to use this is, I think it's I can't remember, Everyday Label Punch. Okay, Stampin' Up sells this. All right, so I'm going to go in here and I'm just eyeballing to get it kind of straight. Punch it. Now I want the, at first I thought, well, I can stamp this on like a gray and make it like a tombstone because that's a good tombstone look. But then I thought, nope, I want to make this the same. Oops, top and bottom. So this is how we get the bottom punch. So you take a Post-it. So this is going to hold it in place. This will be a grabber for us. And then we're going to slide it in and down until it's as far down as we want. All right, so I'm just trying to get it centered. Guess who loves you? And give it a punch. Let me pull this off. I love it. So Post-it note, and then any punch you can make, you know, different size. So that was pretty neat. Okay. Now the edge, where did I put this? So Memento, Tuxedo Black Memento. You could use the VersaFine Onyx for this, but like I said, it takes a while to dry. So, I don't want to wait that long. So I'm using the Memento. This dries very quickly. So I'm just taking this corner and brushing it, getting the edges. All right. Like flicking. If you would rather use a sponge, you could do that. But I like this ink pad direct to the paper sometimes. All right. I like it. So let's sit that there to dry for a minute. And I am popping that up as well. So same foam tape. Ooh, that was a little bit long piece, but that's fine. Peel these up. Come on. And this time I'm going to put it right here. And then we will finish with some of the matte black dots. And these are Stampin' Up as well. All right, so I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do a big one and 2 little ones. Groups of 3 are generally good. Trying to figure out where these are going to stand out. Well, let's put it right here. And then we'll do a little one here. And right on his face. That's fine. So that is a fun Halloween napkin card. Now I'm going to use this same napkin, pieces of this same napkin for another project. So stay tuned while I get this all cleaned up and we move on to number 2. Okay, we're going to start on our jar. This is, I think this was a gravy jar or soup. I can't remember. But you want, whatever size you want. You want to clean it and dry it first. Then you want to take an alcohol wipe. And this is 70%. 70, 90, whatever. If you don't have wipes, just use alcohol and a paper towel. And we just want to go over the outside just to get any leftover oils or grime or anything from our fingers. So get this all good and cleaned up. clean my scissors while I'm at it. Okay, now once this dries, then I'm going to go and put a coat of white chalk paint on it. Now, if you don't have chalk paint, any paint will really do. Craft paint, any kind. I would say white or vanilla, depending on your project. I really wanted vanilla for mine, but I only have white, so I just have to live with it. So I'm just going to go into here, and with my foam brush, oh, look at that, I haven't even opened this. Okay, now I've got this open. It might do you good to make sure you actually have used your paint. This seems very thick, but we're going to go for it. So I'm just going to paint the whole thing. And if you don't mind, if you don't want the lines, do a pouncing. That's up to you. All right, so I'm just going to go over this whole thing, and I'm only doing one coat. And this is really just a base so that the napkins can show through, or that the napkins, you need a base behind the napkin because the napkins are going to be mostly see-through. So I will finish this and let it dry, and I'm only going to do one coat because that's really all you need. So I'll come back when we're ready for our next step. Whoops. Okay. So now our jar has been painted one coat. I did one coat of the white chalk paint, and I did the pouncing all around it. If you wanted the lines in it, you could have the lines in it. That's up to you. My paint said to let it dry for 2 hours, so that's what I did. And now we're going to get to the fun part. So what we're doing is decoupaging our napkin bits onto this jar. All right. So we're going to use Mod Podge and, you know, a sponge, stick sponge or whatever we call it. But let's get the rest of our skulls out. So let me put this over here. So notice how these have like a feathery, you don't want a harsh cut. You don't want a harsh line around it. This feathered business is going to actually blend in with the paint, and it's not going to, you won't see lines. It's like magic. So what we need is, I'm using an aqua painter that has water. If you don't have one of these, you could use a paintbrush with water. All right, very easy. So this napkin, I mean, it's really like tissue paper. Same, actually, if you had tissue paper, it should work the same. So we take our water brush and we are painting around the edge, and we do want to move kind of quickly because this dries quick. So just painting around it, and then we're going to rip. And it makes it rip right on the wet mark, the wet line that we just made. Okay, and if you don't get it quick enough and it dries out, you just add a little bit more water. Like it's feeling a little dry down here, so let me just push that. And it doesn't have to be consistent. So, pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna do one more. All right, so what we're gonna do, pour out a little bit. Now, if you had something, I'm gonna have to hold this in place. If you had something that would keep this from moving, that might be good. So I'm gonna get a little bit of Mod Podge out. And I'm just pouring it on a paper plate. Oops, that's probably too much. So I just want enough just to stick it down. All right, so dip this in, and I'm gonna paint, and stick this guy, and I'm not doing them straight, so I'm gonna do, all right, so get that down, and then we're gonna do Mod Podge just like over the edges. This is gonna keep everything in place. Now this is where I really wish I had vanilla paint, because this is, the napkin really is vanilla, but it is what it is. It's still gonna be cool. And actually, I might be able to add some sponging of a different color. But see how that gets, you just want to keep going until you get any bubbles out. All right, and then we're going to twist it around. And same thing, add some more Mod Podge here, just enough to get it going. And I'm going to stick him right down. Okay, and then over top with the Mod Podge. And that is going to seal down those edges. This is really pretty with some flower napkins. I've seen really a lot of beautiful. And some people don't put this base coat down. They want it clear, but it's never going to be clear because of the Mod Podge. I mean, I know it says dries clear, but come on, we can always see it. I am liking that. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go back in with, I think I have some black paint and I'll be able to sponge, but I have to get this part done first. So I've got 3 more. Let's see, for planning. Let's put some down here and then we will add our Mod Podge. Then when this is all dry, I'm going to go back and do one more coat. That's the thing with Mod Podge. You have to let it dry completely, otherwise it gets sticky. But what I'm going to actually come back with my final coat is going to be this DuraClear satin varnish. And that's just because everything I've seen, people get the best results with this as the final coat. So it's polyurethane satin varnish. All right, so let me get this done, and then we're going to let it dry, and I'm going to go back in and sponge some black, and then I will come back for the final coat. Okay, you guys, I am finished. I decided not to make you watch me put the varnish on because, I mean, that's just the same as painting on the Mod Podge. So this is my final product. I ended up sponging on a little bit of, I had Stays On black ink, and that was easier to get to than my paint. So it did the same thing, but I used just a stamping sponge and, you know, made it a little speckled all over, so that kind of blends in this vanilla napkin against the white paint. It's not, it doesn't stand out so much. And then all I did was tie some gingham ribbon around it. So now the idea, you can use this for anything you want. Pencils, spoons, you know, whatever. You can also try putting in one of these, you know, battery operated light. Now, there's not a ton of light coming through. Let me try to shut the light off. Nope, we can't really see it. So I think the paint is preventing most of it from shining through anyway, or this light is just not bright enough. But I still think this is a really cute project. So we decoupaged our jar with our napkin, and then we made our slimline card. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Next month, I think I'm going to try to make another video. I'll give you a sneak peek of the napkin anyway. This is the napkin that I'm going to use. I'm going to make a fall card. Now, unfortunately, this napkin, the design's only on the one side. So, fail. But these are the ones I got at Hobby Lobby. But it's still pretty with all this foil. So, I'm going to try to find some time next month to do one of those for a fall theme. But I hope you enjoyed these Halloween projects. I love making stuff for Halloween. And those napkins, again, came from Walmart, and they're just too cute. So, thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you next time. Bye.